Council, City of Trinidad, Colorado, held October 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. in City Council Chambers, City Hall 135, North Animas Street, Trinidad, Colorado. For meeting protocols, please turn off cell phones, be respectful, take personal conversations into the lobby area. Lester, do you mind reading this?
Not at all.
Lester?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In observance of trying to skip it last time, we're going to start out this meeting with roll call.
Scabono.
Here.
Shu.
Here.
Thurman.
Here.
Trahell.
Here.
Ogletree. Here. Williamson.
Here.
Griego.
And again, Mayor Grego offers her best wishes, but is not able to attend, so I'll be filling in for her position tonight. Item 2, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion? Oh, I appreciate that, Frank. Is there any changes or concerns for the agenda as written? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Frank and Ogletree for first and second. Vote.
Devono.
Yes.
Shu.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes.
Trahell.
Yes.
Ogletree. Yes. Williamson.
Yes. Item 3, policy items and staff report. Item A, introduction of Police Chief Tracy Rolls.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Williamson, we'd like to invite Chief Rolls forward to introduce himself to City Council.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you all? Good. First of all, I just want to say thank you all for doing what you do. You guys have a very difficult job that I think a lot of people overlook quite often. So I, for one, appreciate you guys having the willingness to serve this community the way that you do. Second, thank you and the panel for allowing me to be here. It is truly an honor to have been selected as the police chief and to have the opportunity to work alongside city management, city leadership, you all and the men and women of the Trinidad Police Department while we are working for the citizens of this community. I'm very excited for the opportunity. I don't take the opportunity lightly, but I am really looking forward to some interesting things that we can do to really enhance community engagement, community involvement, and help us earn the trust of those that we serve in the community. So thank you all again. I appreciate it, and I'm always available to you all, willing to listen to anything that you have to say. So keep that in mind, and I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4, petitions or communications, oral written. The public comment section offers an opportunity for any citizen to express opinions or ask questions regarding city services, policies, or other matters of community concern. Any agenda items that are not part of the scheduled public hearing. A citizen will have 5 minutes for comments. This time limit is established to provide efficiency in the conduct of the meeting and allow equal opportunity for everyone wishing to speak. An immediate response should not be expected, as issues are typically referred to city staff for follow-up or research and then reported back to council and the individual who initiated the comment. Written materials for presentation to council must be submitted to the city clerk as the speaker approaches the podium. I'd like to enter into the public record 2 postcards from 2 separate individuals. Both postcards are titled Los Animas County Democrats Oppose ICE Concentration Camps. They are from 2 separate individuals at 2 separate addresses, and I'll hand them to the attorney for retention.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
We have 2 individuals wishing to speak tonight. The first would be Mr. Dan Rossetti concerning crosswalk signage. Mr. Rossetti.
Evening, Council, Mayor Pro Tem, everyone else. I guess it's a question I'm gonna ask tonight, and it's for the public, because everybody's been asking too. I don't know if you noticed the new crosswalk signals on Maple, Main, and Oak. They beep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't stop. And so I kind of took it upon myself and looked, and what it is, what I read is there's supposed to be a low tone that you shouldn't hear within 12 feet for blind people, so they know where to push the button. And then the beeping sound should come on when a blind person's supposed to walk, so they know it's time to walk. And when there is no sound, they should not be walking. That's not happening on these signals. So I just wanted to bring it to someone's attention, and that's the answer to everybody's question. But if somebody could look into that, I believe they're not right. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rezende. Feel free to action item.
Absolutely, got it. Don't know those rules, have to look at them.
The final person for signed up for public comment tonight would be Roger Rail, and I'm not certain as to the topic.
Good evening, Councilman, Councilwoman. My name is Roger Rael, and I'm your neighbor from Raton, New Mexico. Been stationed there for 48 years. I grew up here in Trinidad with every one of you guys, kids about my age. And I'm very frustrated of what I'm seeing happen, transpire in this area for the last 5 years. I don't really like to talk about myself because I figure people who talk about themselves are real arrogant, and I don't find myself that way, Mr. Trillo, one bit. And what I do know is that I'm a very passionate person, and I'm very honest. My honesty took me to the Department of Corrections for 10 years, where I worked as a decorated corrections officer at the state penitentiary for 10 years, where I handled many different combative situations with mental people, being told on the daily that I was going to be killed. Finally ending up being stabbed and still working 3 years after that. I got my stripes there and left because of the bureaucracy that I was working with, and started learning about how government is. I grew angry with it, and I went to work in the media thinking I could make a difference with what I learned at TSJC as the Trinidad Film School that we had here back in the day, which the city of Trinidad really helped us pick up, but somehow it went away. That talent went very far, and it got me into college, where I ended up catching me 2 bachelor's degrees, one in political science and a minor in mass communications. The second one was in journalism. Graduation day, I was approached by some people from the University of Colorado, Denver, asking me if I wanted to go for my master's. Nobody in my family, my mom's side or my dad's side at this point, has ever received a college degree, much less a master's. I broke milestones to get there. I got myself indebted with $180,000 of student debt. I went homeless the last semester of college so I could finish up my degree living in my car. Now you're asking me, why am I bringing this to you in a passionate sense? Well, gentlemen, ma'am, for quite some time, I've tried to come and apply for a position with the city of Trinidad, only to have my resume or my interview looked at as a joke. The last ones I had was June 25th of this year, where I applied for a communications and community relations director, where I could help you, chief, and I could help you, sir. And I do know ADA policy because of that master's degree I have in gentrification urban development from guess where? University of Colorado, Denver. When did you get yours?
Sir,
You haven't got yours? 2018.
please address council and
Well,
not...
I'm addressing anybody I like, Mr. Attorney.
That's great. Please
Right,
address
fine.
council.
This is my time, not yours.
That's right.
This is my time, not yours.
Please address them.
This is my time, not yours. Now, I also applied for an animal assistant position, 2025. City manager, 2024. Communications coordinator with Ms. Balmrich, and also with the Trinidad Police Department as a dispatcher for the 911. Each one of those I'm not qualified for. And I want to know how I can be not qualified for it with an IQ of 130, with a master's degree, 2 bachelor's degree. And I'm not even here to really point fingers at anybody. But I just want to know how. How can you allow people like this that are still working to get a master's degree when people like me have it and we have the experience? You're relying on outside sources to tell you who's the best candidate, and you're overseeing your own people in this community. You're overseeing us, and it hurts because we love this community. We're from this community. We know about the people here.
1 minute left.
And this is the time I'm telling you all, there is a great oversight, and it's because of the bureaucrats and the workers you have in office. Your human resource officer and your city manager were 35 minutes late to my interview in this room. 35 minutes late. There's no excuse for that. The last city manager, when he interviewed me, he made a racial remark. And I told Ms. Griego about it. I also told Mr. DeBono about it. There's nothing anybody could do about it. Well, the buck stops here. I'm gonna make sure that this employment, whatever you're doing here, stops. I have passion, I have the right to work in this community, and I don't care what anybody says. I have more experience than people you have sitting in this room right now. And it's a gross display for anybody to not allow someone from their own community who sacrificed so much to want to contribute to their community. Now you see the mean side of people. That's not what we're about. We're supposed to work together. We're supposed to love one another.
Time.
And I'm going to ask you now, I pray that you take what I say tonight and start a formal investigation of how you and your staff are interviewing people. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Item 5, council reports, and we'll start with Mr. Quinn.
Nothing to report at this time, just waiting on a good for pickleball. So I think that's all we're waiting on right now, so I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
I have nothing to report at this time.
I have nothing to report, but me and Tara are headed to Lahana for our meeting next Thursday for budgeting and a few things like that, so I'll have a report next week.
All right.
From the Veterans Council, there's going to be next Wednesday, 9 a.m. starting at Kangaroo Coffee on Commercial Street. There's a free Veterans Coffee and Tea Social, and that's going to start at 9 a.m. And then on November 7th, the first Friday of the month, there's the mobile food pantry. That's going to be at the Los Angeles County Fairgrounds starting at 10 a.m. And then on the 15th of November, Mount Carmel Wellness and Community Center is hosting a Veterans Thanksgiving dinner for all veterans and their families. That's going to be Saturday, November 15th at 5:30 p.m. in the Garden Room. 911 Robinson is the address, and you need to call to RSVP to Ashley DePaulo, and if you want the number, it's listed everywhere. 719-845-4877. So that's from the Los Angeles County Veterans.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. All right. I personally have no report, but I would say that with some of the Council of Government functions coming up between Mayor Grego and myself, we will ensure that we have representation there. And I suspect city staff would be at the upcoming CDOT meeting. So, all right, I have nothing past that. Thank you. Item 6 is consent agenda approval. The consent agenda approval can be adopted by simple motion. Consent agenda will be read aloud prior to vote on the motion. Any consent agenda item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of a council member for individual consideration. Item A, approval of the regular meeting minutes, October 7th of 2025. B, approval of La Puerta Business Improvement District 2026 operating plan and budget. Item C, approval of bills in the amount of $1,315,795.11, and approval of payroll for October 11th, 2025 through October 24th, 2025 in the amount of $452,765.41. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Mr. Shu, Mr. DeBono, the vote?
DeBono,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Ogletree. Yes. Williamson.
Yes. Item 7, public hearings. To take public comment on the following. Capital budget estimates. Each one is an individual here?
No, that's together.
Okay, so, open the hearing. The hearing's open. Is there any public comment, or are we going to present first?
No, this is for the public to ask any questions that they have about the budget.
Thank you for the clarification. So the budget has been posted publicly, and at this point, we'll be accepting public comment. Is there any public comment on the budget? Hearing none, the hearing will be closed. And that will include item A and B.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to item 8, unfinished business, of which we have none. Item 9, miscellaneous business. Item A, consideration and approval of amendment number 3 for the engineering of the Trinidad water storage tank rehabilitation. Who's presenting on this?
That would be myself.
Thank you.
Good evening, council and everyone.
I thought you weren't coming back.
What's that?
I thought you weren't going to come back anywhere.
It's been a little while. Oh, but before I get, since the last time I was here, we talked about inviting council to one of our water tanks when they open the door. The Allendale tank is currently on temporary tanks. They'll be cutting the hole in the tank tomorrow. So we start checking our emails, probably first part of next week. So we just want to make sure to get the floor dry and it's not slippery before we let anybody go in, so.
We don't need a life vest or anything.
No life vests, so start watching our emails. But in any event, we have for consideration approval, the amendment number 3 is to increase the contract amount to address a greater than expected level of effort during the construction phase, mainly due to the SRF funding tasks and additional construction services. Engineering services will align with the construction services timeframe. The cost will be $157,324. Back when we put this out to bid, just to go back a few steps, we originally had the DOLA grant, the ARPA grant. We had to have that ARPA grant committed by the end of December, so we put this out to bid. We hired Black & Beach to do the original scope of service, which provide design and phase service for the generation of set of bid documents for the rehabilitation on Southside Tank, Northside Tank, Allendale Tank, and Jansen Tank, which was completed in 2022. That cost was for $94,755. That was the original professional service agreement that we hired Black & Beach to do. That was just to do the design and oversee the project. Then we got the SRF funding. That's what changed everything. With that, that's a federal grant, and they have a lot more criteria we gotta meet. We have to have the Bacon-Davis wages, the AIS, American Iron and Steel, and that's what's consuming so much more time on this project. They didn't bid this originally when this came in afterward. The same with WBS Coatings. When they bid it, they were not aware of the SRF funding. Okay, so this came in afterward. Then, in October of 2024, we had amendment number 1, which added scope to provide engineering services during the bidding and construction for the Southside Tank, Northside Tank, Allendale Tank, and Monument Lake Tank. That amendment number 1 was for $283,801. That was for number 1. Then in April of 2025, amendment number 2 added scope for a site inspection and radiographic testing for the Northside Tank to investigate areas of corrosion. The Northside Tank, which was located on Simpson Rest, once they got that cleaned out and the floors and the walls sandblasted, there was some major pitting on the floor. Again, that tank was built in 1967. It had never been rehabilitated, so we got some basically imaging equipment, and they did floor scans to check the thicknesses of the floor to make sure before we just fill in the pitting, we want to make sure the floor had proper wall thickness and we didn't have to replace the floor. That all came out good. We actually cut a section about the size of this paper out where it had a pretty good pit in it, and the hole poked all the way through the floor, so we caught it just in time. It would have started leaking. So that scope was just to go and have welders come in and grind all the pitting and fill them in. Then we had a roof structure that was corroded pretty severely. We had all that replaced on that tank. And that cost was $18,000. That was for $720. And now we're looking at Amendment 3, which Black and Beach, when they gave us their amended their professional service agreement, that was for so many hours. This was not supposed to last this long originally. Well, we've gone over that, we've consumed that time and that money. So now in order to complete the project, they've added additional time in that for a cost of $157,324. And that should carry everything out to the end of this project, complete this project with them overseeing it. Any questions? I know some of the paper we gave you, there was explanations from Black and Beach from the original service agreement memo number 1 and number 3, why the costs were so high. And there were explanations of why it's taken so much time. So, but this is necessary in order to complete this project. Black and Beach has been overseeing it. They've done a great job doing it. WBS has done a great job on the tank rehabilitation project. We just need to keep moving forward. And we need to, they've done a great job. It's AIS certification, I can honestly tell you, Terrence probably knows what that's about. It's created a lot more time on city staff, a lot more time on grant writing that's looking at it, a lot more time on engineering, and a lot more time on the WBS. This has been time consuming. Federal grant money, they have more stringent rules and regulations than state money, so it's just something we've had to deal with, and we need to keep dealing with to get this project done.
Thank you. Does anyone on council have questions?
Do we have money to carry this?
We do. Yeah, we originally ended up with 5.4 million. I think we had, I can tell you, I think we ended up with about 1.3 as today. I do see one more change order coming.
Mark, but things must change.
I know that. But it's the north side tank, we had that floor pitted and a lot of corrosion on the ceiling. That was a necessary change order to get that rehab. South side tank up here was built at the same time, 1967. So if it's a mirror image of the north side tank, that change order was $85,000 to get all that interior done work. So more than probable we'll see something to that same nature on the north side tank.
How long do you expect these tanks to hold now? Will it be as long as it's been since the
They
last?
warranty us 28 years.
Okay.
So another 30 years from now, we can go ahead and go in and do this again. But every 3 to 5 years, we have divers come in and they go in the tanks, dive. They vacuum any silt that's on the floors. They take videos and pictures. And so we monitor the tanks all along. So back the Johnson tank, our 5 million gallon tank is not part of this project because it sits on federal land. The Corps of Engineers on federal land. We don't own the land that tank sits on, so we're working with them to try to figure out how to get that one rehabbed next. So, but we're having that one. Diver inspector coming in sometime next week to take care of that one. So
Do the tanks that serve Santa Fe Trail Ranch, are they owned by the city or are they owned by the ranch?
By the ranches, this is private. They're one of our consecutive systems. So, and they have to meet the same guidelines we do. The state comes down once every 3 to 5 years and do sanitary survey on us to include the second consecutive systems. So they have to have an ORC, an operator responsible charge of their water system, and they have to meet the same criteria we do, but they're all privately individually owned.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
So pretty much just, we're still on track for the Old Silvers Road project?
Yes, so any money left over from this project, we're already working to reallocate, we're starting the process to reallocate any funding left over from this project over to the Old Silvers Road project. We did get a grant, we went to Grand Junction for $750,000 to go toward that. So anything left over this, we'll reallocate to that and see if any, or what we need to move forward to get that one moving this coming year. So the Allendale tank, they want it to be completed by Christmas, by the end of December, and they're gonna switch to the south side tank, which they probably will be done by March or April. So we should be completed before summer, by the end of spring.
I'm good, because I think the goal is to exhaust the grant as much as we can, because we don't want to send any of it back, right?
We don't want to lose that $2.2 million of forgiveness, so whatever's left over, we're gonna
Good deal.
reallocate over there, so we won't lose that.
Awesome.
And we're already working on that process, so,
Thank you.
sure.
I have a question.
The tank that's on federal land, when was it constructed?
I want to say 77 or 78, on the Jansen tank on the Trinidad Lake State Park.
And how far out are we on the solution for gaining access to that?
The next process right now is we have to get an engineering firm, Black & Veatch GMS engine, to figure out, okay, how many gallons, we can't drain that tank. That tank, our transmission line comes in from North Lake, fills that tank, and that tank then winds off and feeds the 3 pump stations that fill these tanks. So that tank, we have to have that storage. We can't drain it. So what we're working on now, trying to figure out how much storage do we need, temporary storage do we need in order to drain that tank and still supply water to our 3 pump stations to maintain these other 3 tanks. So once we get that number, we need to know how much storage we need. Then we got to go to the Corps of Engineers, which are the Albuquerque District, and say, okay, this is what we need to do. Can we put these tanks here? Hopefully we don't have to go through environmental, because that slows the process down. But once we get all this accomplished, then that's how we're going to move forward, so. We're working on it.
All right. Any further questions? Those questions ended up wide ranging, but thank you for it.
I would just add one thing. The caveat here for this particular change order of 157,324 is that when you start taking federal dollars, that increases the requirements that you have in reporting. So as Mark explained, that's what's precipitating this 157,000. So the $3,450,000 loan that we took, as Mark reported, has $2.2 million in loan forgiveness. So essentially the $1.2 million that we will owe over a period of 30 years made this project, this $5.4 million project, able to be done with $1.2 million debt and everything else covered. But the trade-off of that is the requirements that Mr. Vigil referenced. So we had to make a decision over whether to bring in additional staff to make that happen, or whether to go to our engineer who provides oversight of the project. So I just wanted to make it clear for the record that when we take federal money, there is an additional cost associated with the reporting that goes along with that, and this is that cost.
Thank you for that clarification. Yeah.
Sure.
But the good part is we do have the funding available. We don't have a shortfall, so it's there.
We do, with more to spare.
Yes.
All right, any further questions?
Thanks, Mark.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for item 9A.
Thanks, Mark.
The Trujillo and Ogletree, and then the vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes. Item B, consideration of the States of Rancho Duran Filing 1, Phase 1, Open Space Agreement.
Evening, Mayor Pro Tem Council. So this is back, back in June of this past year, Grand Ventures had Rancho Duran Filing 1 Phase 1 approved. They've since put their bonding in for their construction as part of their subdivision improvement agreement. They've done that, majority of the construction, still trying to finalize it. This is for the 4 lots along Morris Canyon. And as part of that, there was 2 tracts of open space that was dedicated to the city. And all this agreement really is, those 2 tracts were 1.52 acres, which was over the required 15%. But what this open space agreement does, it's kind of twofold. One, it dedicates those tracts to the city. The plat does that as well. And the second, it kind of outlines some guidelines for it, because the city, those tracks don't have too much value as they sit right now. They play a bigger part of a bigger plan for both Duran Ventures and for the city itself. There would probably be looking at trail trail type stuff, long-term. So this open space agreement kind of allows these tracks to sit as they are now without requiring any improvements. It has the developer maintaining those tracks, as the city doesn't want to maintain open space that has no real value right now. And then the city will take over that maintenance once there's improvements on them. And then the city will just prohibit public access, so they're not actually public public facilities right now. These aren't parks that people want to be climbing on. It's two spaces of land that are big of a part of a bigger plan. So that's what that open space agreement worked with City Attorney Downs and Durant Ventures lawyer as well to kind of come up with it. We're both happy. We're happy with it, and it's just kind of one of the steps to make sure that we don't have to take care of them as they don't have too much value as they are right now. Once they get that value, then we'll take over the maintenance for them. Like I said, that value will probably come in the form of trails, the trail system. So that's all I have. Open for questions.
So the trails that will be there presumably someday in the future are
Mhm.
going to be public access?
That will be,
trails?
yes. But as they sit right now, as their trails aren't there, they're not.
This is the first phase of how many phases?
I have no clue how many phases. I don't know how many they want to break it out to. I think they kind of went Rancho Duran filing one, which I think they're kind of thinking along Morris Canyon. So this is kind of on the right across from the school. And then as you get closer to Peak Street, they own that as well. I think that's going to be like the phase 2. But yeah, they really haven't expressed. It's 180 acres. I imagine they could phase it out probably until I'm no longer working here. So, which is okay. Taking it baby steps is definitely a good path forward. That way they're not extending themselves too far, and the city's not extending its approvals too far. But yeah, I know the trail system is one of their bigger things, especially with our work on Santa Fe Trail and that trail system, which I don't have too much information on, but that's a big goal for this.
No questions.
Any questions?
No, and just, because it's just simple, cut and dry, because we're going to just pretty much just go through open space it now and then later rezone it again for something.
Well, you'll maintain it. It'll still be open space, but we'll start maintaining it. We don't want to maintain it right now, just because it's kind of out there. It's wild. We don't want to be, having to go cut weeds or something out there it doesn't, and especially when it has no value to the citizens right now.
All right.
No question.
Any further input from staff?
No. Got it?
All right, I'll entertain a motion for items 9B.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Councilman Shu and Councilman DeBono, and the vote.
DeBono,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes. Item D, consideration and approval of a contract with Trinidad Construction Group for project 01-2025 remodel of the South Side Park restrooms.
I think you skipped the H. Get on. Sorry.
I was seeing if you guys were paying attention.
We're on it.
Kim caught it.
She was all over that, John.
My apologies. Item C, consideration and approval to execute the contract to purchase real property owned by Kip Hamden LLP.
Yep, this is still me. So this is we've done all that work. We've talked about this quite a bit, the grants we have for the Church Street project, which you guys approved a couple meetings ago, that will be starting in the coming weeks. And there's still plenty of public outreach being done about that project. With those grants we had associated with that project, we had the More Housing Now and the Stronger Communities grant. There was a $560,000 match. So we kind of worked with Kip Hamden to purchase some property, in which case their money that they were getting from their property, or that they were going to receive in the property purchase, selling it to the city, they were going to donate back for that match. It freed up some money for them to meet that match. So this is the second one. We previously did one, I think I put the date, hopefully, I think it was back in January. We did the first one, and that was of Lot 3 and Lot 4 of the Holy Trinity subdivision. This is for the open space, or the Valentine open space that I've been bringing to council last couple meetings. That's the area, the former Noah's Ark, the parking lot, the access off of Chestnut, and then a big piece of the river and the river bottom. So this is just the contract purchase, same language as the previous one that we had completed. The total for this one is $479,853. Then the sum totals between the first purchase we did earlier this year and this one is $600,000, which was we kind of agreed upon between city staff and Kip Hampton LLP. So as far as the purchase goes, it's going to be very beneficial. Pickleball just got put in on that side of the park of Los Niños, so get some parking there. The building itself, we'll probably be looking at some uses, either storage or some other good stuff. I'd like to see maybe at least the opportunity for a concession stand. That way, in case there's tournaments or something down there, people will use that. But we're still kind of evaluating it once we get into that building. Maybe even an office or something, or at least a telephone and computer for the parks guys. And then the river area that kind of covers is that's a bigger part of the river visioning plan. So yeah, just trying to tie this one up before too long, and hopefully we get this property purchase tied up as well before the project starts, which is coming very quickly. So, any questions? I'm here for it.
Questions?
Just to add that 560,000 that Mr. Mason referenced, you're gonna see that in the budget as we're talking about it in the next couple of work sessions. It's in the budget. We're anticipating that will come in next year.
Yeah.
So even though we're paying out the money now to acquire the land, because we feel it's important, we own the pickleball courts we've built. So even though we're acquiring it right now, the development agreement will have them returning the 560 to us, and you'll see that in the budget for next year. Thank you, Mr. Mason. I just wanted to clarify that.
Mr. Mason or Ms. Marshall, I was wondering if someone, at least for the public record, I think it's important to just speak a little bit to how land is purchased, at least valued for a public purchase. Is that possible?
Yeah, so this one, they had an appraisal done, Kip Hampton LLP did, after the passing of Mr. Chimino. So they had some values associated. This one, their properties have, the buildings and stuff, but we went on $3 a square foot for vacant property. Now, the river one was downgraded quite a bit because it has absolutely no buildable possibilities. It's in the floodplain. And then once we worked that out, we kind of came up with that $600,000, a little bit back and forth. That was when Mike Valentine was a city manager, but that's the kind of agreed upon number. But it was based on that $3 a square foot for vacant land, which was the appraised value when they completed their appraisal.
Any further questions? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion on 9C.
So moved.
Second. Councilwoman Ogletree and Councilman Shu. Vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Truhill?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes. Now, we're going to do item 9B. Consideration and approval of a contract with the Trinidad Construction Group for project number 01-2025, remodel of Southside Park restrooms.
So myself and the development services team, we put together a bid package through September, or we put out to bid a bid package for a remodel of the Southside Park's bathrooms, or the restrooms. They've been closed for the last couple of years, so it's been kind of overdue. My team thought we could put it together and put out a good bid, and I think we did a really good job of that. The remodel itself includes addressing some the pipes freeze, which is one of the main issues. So addressing that issue, and then making it easier for access to maintenance those pipes. So we're going to add some access panels. And make it easier to maintain. Bringing the restroom up to ADA standards, so that was kind of an unfortunate when we were measuring it, started to build the project out, the door's not ADA. It's an ADA door, but when you go in, you have to turn, and that turn radius wasn't what it needed to be. So now we have to redo that to get the ADA access and make it up to, bring it up to ADA standards. The rest of the restroom was actually done perfect. It's all ADA. It was really good. It's just that door, and we were like 6 inches short, which is really hard to swallow because it adds cost, but you have to do it right. Being under DOJ order and all that. And then we'll address some stormwater issues because the stormwater kind of goes into the bathroom and it goes down the floor drain there, so we don't want that. That's the water coming off the baseball fields up there on that south side, the upper fields. So we're going to address that with some grading and putting some inlets for that stormwater.
Not to interrupt you on that, water. Didn't we do work up there on the field to prevent that from water coming off that field? I thought we put some money into that.
I have no recollection of that one.
Would you talk to Bob about that?
We'll look into it.
Yeah, we'll have to look
because
into
we
it.
spent a lot of money on that to redo that so water would be coming all those fields.
Yeah, it's a tough one to handle, but that's probably a project on its own to handle. It's not just the one field either. There's 4 fields. It's quite a bit. It does move quite a bit. So
Maybe we should look into doing that if they're going to fix this up and still have water coming down in there.
yeah, hopefully we're going to put a grate in front of it and then do some grading to hopefully catch that. It'll hit that grate, and then we're going to outlet it down below and try to get it away from the fields. That way the water doesn't collect like that. And keeping it out of the restroom is the main thing we're trying to do. But long term, it'd probably be best to look at that. And to be honest, I have no clue what we would do. So we'd have to work with engineering pretty close to see what we could do to rectify that.
We should do that right away before we start doing any of the.
We'll look into it.
I mean,
We will.
it's silly to spend money and then not
Agreed.
work for what we need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The city, we received 2 bids, one from Trinidad Construction Group, that's for $89,330. The second bid was from Coda Construction, that's for $98,581.15. We're pretty familiar with Trinidad Construction Group. Coda, they're actually a construction group out of Cascade, so I think that's why their prices were really similar. Coda just has a bit more because they're out of Cascade, and to be honest, I think that's up there by the North Pole. So it's that's when we asked her, the construction manager, I was like, "Where is that?" She said, "Oh, it's by the North Pole." I was like, "Oh, right." So that's the major reason their costs were a touch higher, but they're really comparable across the board.
Can I bring up a point here?
Yes.
That Trinidad Construction, they've been doing a lot of work. They're doing alley net.
Mm-hmm.
They're awful slow. Their projects don't seem to be getting done on time, and I don't know what their schedule is, but they're kind of stretching out with a lot of projects, and the weather's changing now, and I would really like you to talk to Justin and see what LEA is, what's the holdup there.
Yeah,
it isn't that big an area, and it's just take a long time for these people to do this work.
Yeah, the good thing about this project is that it is indoors for the most part, so it is a good winter project. We had quite a few people at the walkthrough. They're too busy to take it on, so they didn't bid. I'd say Trinidad Construction Group, if they couldn't fit it, and I'm gonna take a look, I think we gave them 60 days to complete this work, once we get the contract in order. So we're gonna hold them to it. We're gonna piggyback along with, engineering does a meeting with Trinidad Construction Group every Monday. We're going to piggyback along and probably do a meeting as well. And the good thing too is the development services team includes a building inspector. He helps manage these projects. It slows down during the winter, so he's going to have the extra time to be able to go out there and spend with them on the project, and that's kind of what we're banking on to stay on it.
I do know to at least partially address that LEA, because I agree with you, that's taken some time. I do know though that it was intended to be finished after the RAD, which was unfortunate. That's what we expected to be after the RAD, but it has seemed to stretch on for some time.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say, initially they were working between the buildings, but now they're doing a lot of the work behind. So, but even at that,
Yeah,
it still seems weeks out.
Yeah,
so-
the LEA is, it is
Well,
on
if
track
I-
right now, so I clarified that with engineering this morning, so.
You're,
It is on track, and it's one of those projects that there's a lot of grading and site work and getting rebar in place, and then it's gonna wrap up quickly because then you're just pouring concrete and finishing, and you're gonna finish with your brick layer. So it's one of those ones where, and it that's how First Street kind of went, is it takes like forever because we're grading, we're doing all this work underground and no one sees it. And then the contractor comes in and pours concrete and the bricklayer comes right behind him and then the project's done. And so that's just, and then they say, oh, look how fast the contractor, the concrete guy and the bricklayer are. But that's because everything's set and ready to go. So it's that type of project for LEA. And like I said, they are on time. I saw the question coming a little bit.
you are saying the LEA is on schedule, but
Yeah.
when,
The notice to proceed was issued based on the amount of days of construction. LEA is scheduled to be finished on 12/25.
That's right.
I understand that's Christmas,
oh,
but that is the way the notice to proceed fell. They are more than 60, they're between 60 and 70% complete and on schedule, and we do have construction meetings every Monday. I think what Mr. Mason was indicating is he'll tack this project
Yeah.
onto those construction meetings.
Yeah, we'll follow up with the Trinidad Construction Group after their meeting.
I just didn't remember it being out that far.
It was.
12/25. Okay.
Yeah,
Trust me, we've asked,
Yeah, 'cause I don't
and
think we've seen that date.
we're on schedule.
That's the first time I heard that.
So that date includes some of the, there was a few change order, minor ones, and as well as they like ran into a couple of issues with they ran into a communications vault, just didn't foresee it, didn't know it was there, had to go back and backfill it, so they've added a handful of days that way, just because of those small minor ones, but they do add up after you catch up quite a few of them, so.
So, is there any further questions? Do you have questions?
I have a question. This is a restroom that, is it used by the public generally?
Yes, yeah, and I'd say it's probably a big one to have. I was just watching my son's flag football game, and there's no restroom up there. We have porta potties. It's a big one, and there's a lot of people. And same goes for baseball. Same goes for college softball. It's a pretty it's nice to have a restroom in your park.
Does the current structure have a history of vandalism like we've had in Chimino Park?
I'd say no. The water fountain did get dinged quite a bit by I don't know what, and it has been a little bit. So in this remodel, we're actually going to inset it, so it's going to be a little more. It's not going to be in the one. It kind of gets beat up by the dirt and stuff as well from the wind. So it's kind of, hopefully we're going to protect it just a little bit and then protect it from, vandalism, so. Because it's going to be inset into the wall.
Is there any plan to put up security cameras? I know we are looking at increasing security around the city. I'm wondering if we need that there.
It's not as part of this project,
Not
but
as
it's
part of
being
this.
looked at with the budget we'll talk about that in capital for next year. A
Okay.
more broad, visual project for the
Because
city,
I
for the parks in particular.
want those assets protected as best we can because it's obviously expensive
Yeah.
to redo them. So, thank you.
Yeah, and I would say that this one's not from really vandalism. This one's just from weathering. It's 25 years old, 30 years old. So it needs a facelift overall. And then just addressing some of the pipe freezing issues that hopefully we could have it functional throughout the winter.
I see that we have heaters being put in, which is.
Yeah, a
We
heater.
just never had heat in there before, but we're insulating as well on top of that.
Yeah, we'll do some installation as best we can, and then we're going to the pipes themselves get heat tape, so that'll help. That way, once it gets cold, we could heat tape them or get that heat tape on, and hopefully keep them from freezing. And overall, just trying to make it more functional and operational. It's not in terrible shape. It's just it needs some love, and then it needs to be functional. And it needs to be ADA standards, so then it just started happening.
That's the important one.
It is important.
No, nothing. I just have one question, and Nick, thank you for the time you're taking. I know this probably went a little further
No?
than you expected, but I really do appreciate your time. I think, what Mr. Shu was saying is really important to at least, well, I think it's important to have a good idea on all that water being, that moves there. And I do know, I agree with him, in retrospect, we did address some of that when we did the work on the outfields out there, right? Yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
did some of the stuff on,
Yeah,
it wasn't
so-
too long ago.
I suspect what that did is probably, I'm guessing, mitigate at least some of the water flow.
Yeah.
But it seems like, from what Frank is saying and what you're indicating, that there may still be water flow that has to be handled. Are we certain that this money that we're spending now, the 89,330, that it won't be good, eliminated by any water flows or anything like that?
Well, I would say that the water flow doesn't, I don't think that actually hinders the building. The problem is you have to clean it, just because there's water running in, and if there's not much water running into the bathroom, then there's not gonna be, the fields aren't gonna be in use, because they're flooded. So, it's not that, it's just gonna be the cleaning, the maintenance of it. So, I think it's functional. I mean, if we could get the pipes right, get your insulation right, it's probably functional as is without that. We just wanted to add that to keep just to try to keep it and try to maintain it some way. And I'd say if you want it as part of a bigger project, then we could probably look at CIP and say, we want to also, I see that as two different projects, so, but if that's a priority to council, but for as far as the development services team goes, getting the bathroom back open is definitely the priority.
We'd like you to have just our engineering department look at that. I mean, for the water, water, it doesn't matter where it is, it'll tear up anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's concrete floor. It like I said, it just goes to the floor drain. So we're just trying to mitigate as much as we can, just so it's not an issue, as big an issue.
Is the water coming off the walls of the fields? Because they're,
Oh, down.
yeah, when
Down
it comes
below.
into that section there. Is there an issue there?
Councilmember Shu will have Public Works address all of this
Okay.
at the next meeting. We did have engineering work with development services on this bid, so we're confident that there's not going to be an issue with flooding with this particular project, but you've raised some questions here, and we're definitely going to have that addressed, so we'll include that next week or the week after with Mr. Just to satisfy these questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Pending any further questions, and I think there is none, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Hearing a motion in a second, I will have the vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Manson.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Item 10, reports by city manager and the city attorney.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. You want me to?
Sure.
Okay, all right, that kind of threw me off. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, just a few things to report on. One is, today, thank you, Tara.
Sure.
One is, we had Legal Resource Day today, or Ask a Lawyer, as it's sometimes referred to. It was a great day, very busy. It was very nice, seemed to be very well received. The Judicial Department at the courthouse does a great job. All the judges were there, everybody. There were 3 seminars also that were put on by the judges who were very helpful. One on domestic relations, one on probate and wills and that kind of thing. The other was on evictions. And so those were all really well attended, and it was a great event today. The other thing I want to mention is this is the last meeting before the last regular meeting of council before the election. So good luck to everybody who is running, and also that leads me into the point of the next meeting will be that Wednesday, I believe, November 5th, not the 4th. I don't have a calendar right in front of me, but I think it's going to be the 5th. So since Election Day is that Tuesday, of course. And then the other thing, the last thing I wanted to say is the Spider Music Festival just seemed, sorry if I took that from you, sorry. It was a wonderful event. And, Suzanne Magnuson and Curtis Wallach, I know that was their brainchild, but 3 days of music and it was just a wonderful event. So, congratulations to them and really a tip of the cap for that great event. I think that brought a lot of people and I know town was just really very busy during that weekend. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Mayor.
Perfect. So you met our new police chief tonight. We want to welcome him. We're glad he got started on Monday. I want to remind you that we have the public meet and greet at Space to Create on Thursday, the 23rd. That's this Thursday, from 3 to 4:30. So please stop by. We're going to have a police chief there to meet with the public. Also, our new animal control officer started this week as well. He's out training, and if you run into some of our detectives, they have him out and about, getting him up to speed. We're very excited to bring this young man on and put him to work in that role. The city's open enrollment for insurance kicks off next Monday, October 27th, with meetings for staff both in the morning and early afternoon. That'll be right before our work session next Monday at 3. That our insurance companies as well as our investment company will be available to visit with, and that is going to be at Space to Create that afternoon and that morning. The Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority has been marketing with local property owners in the downtown and developers that own property in the downtown. They've had a good response. They've started vetting those as possible public-private partnerships. What we want to do in February when we have our new council in place is a joint work session with Trinidad Urban Renewal and City Council to go through the development agreement process. And just remind you that City Council approves development agreements for the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. So if they have attracted, it looks like a couple of different potential buildings, we want to bring those forward to you and start talking about what a development agreement would look like and how you might want to consider allocating some sales tax TIF toward those projects. So that's more for later. I participated in meetings with potential buyers for the Columbian Hotel. We have a follow-up meeting this week. It's looking very good, and while I can't really share a lot of details, we're excited to see that a hotelier that is very experienced in downtown boutique hotels of approximately 40 rooms. So that could be a key part of our downtown. We're kicking off the Convent Church Street project in the next few weeks, and we're meeting with Holy Trinity Church this week in a one-on-one. We'll set those meetings up regularly so that the church will be aware of that construction schedule. They've asked Mr. Valentine to be their representative, so it'll be kind of fun to sit across from Mike in those meetings. We'll also be having a public meeting the first week of November, which we'll continue to do with all the businesses. And to Mayor Pro Tem Williamson's point, Allier is still going on. We've got 60 more days, so now we're going to have 2 major projects in that area impacting those businesses. So we will be staying in touch. Our communications coordinator will also be putting out every single street closure and what's going on. So we'll have weekly, if not bi-weekly, updates on social media. Our river visioning project kicked off today too. We had the final design team in town. They met with the development services team and the engineering department and then walked the project. So just a reminder, this is our river visioning project that runs from Animas Street all the way to Linden Street Bridge throughout the corridor in the center of town. We talked about the strategic local partnerships that we'll be working with during this project. So that will have at least monthly meetings, if not bi-monthly meetings. So we're receiving communications regarding a few federal projects. So federal workers, we have been informed, are going to be on employee furloughs. So some of our federal monies, we're working through what that impact will look like in the next couple of weeks. So right now, the one that comes to mind, the one that we received the notification on today, are the Water Department, Mr. Vihil's 4 projects, which we received a CDS, a Congressional Directed Spending on. So it looks like those employees managing that at the EPA are going to be on furlough. So we're waiting to see how that impacts us. We do have a notice to proceed and the funding is set aside for us. So there'll just be different reporting periods. We'll have to handle it a little bit differently. So I'll be able to advise you of that impact coming up. Additionally, you may have received some communication from Los Animas County Human Services regarding the November SNAP benefits that are received in our community. I want to bring to your attention, we're talking about a loss for the month of November. Now that will be backfilled at some point, but for the month of November, those aren't available. At approximately the amount of $547,933. This impacts 1,977 households for a total of 3,042 folks, with approximately 50% of those are children, 15% are elderly, and 15% are individuals with disability. So Los Animas County Health Department had a meeting with the commissioners today, and I am in contact with the commissioners in some of the ideas about how they're going to try and offset that in the month of November as we hit next week. And even if the government starts back up, we're still going to not have November. So we may not have December either, depending on how long this goes. So I will likely have a memo to you as we see for sure what the plan looks like for that. But we're making our way through the 2026 budget cycle. Last Monday we discussed the general fund, so I provided you with the memo that goes along with that. Please let me know if you have any questions. This next Monday we'll be providing updates to council, just a few updates on the general fund, on what's changed in the course of 2 weeks, as well as we'll be going over the enterprise funds, so water, sewer, power, and gas on Monday the 27th. I assume I got pretty good feedback from you on the memo format for the general fund, so I'm planning to follow that same memo format for the next. I mentioned the ALIA schedule, so December 25th is the date, as Mr. Mason had pointed out. We've had some additional days added, but we're around 60 days out. And I'll just add that to my report every other week so that you know what to expect. I mentioned the, Nick covered the south side bathroom, so we had lots of questions there. So you guys know that's coming. Our Christmas Cash program launched on Monday. So I'll remind you what Christmas Cash is we've had a number of businesses. Please go to our Facebook page. It is outstanding how many businesses we've been able to sign up. So remember that if you're in those businesses, you will see the sign Christmas Cash Accepted here. Save your receipts. It started on Monday. It runs through December 24th. You can bring those receipts into City Hall, Space to Create, the library, or the Welcome Center, and you can hand that receipt in at a participating business and receive $1 for every $10 spent. So if you spend $100, you will receive $10 in Christmas cash. If you spend $250, you'll receive $25 in Christmas cash, but that's the top. So if you spend $300, you'll still only receive $25 in Christmas cash. Now that cash can be spent back in those businesses. So go out, participate with our restaurants, shop in our stores. Of course, we're counting on the fact that if you have $15 of Christmas cash burning your pocket, you'll actually go spend $30 in a store. So that's what we're hoping for. We're trying to stimulate our economy. You may have heard that Sunset Grill is closing. That hit Facebook yesterday, so their last day will be October 31st, which is next Friday, and I did meet with them today to see if there was anything that we could offer or do, and I'm sorry to report that that's not going to happen. So we want to publicly thank that business. They've been an amazing part of our community. They've offered us cuisine from all around the world, and it was exciting to be able to offer that to our visitors and our families. And then finally, I'm going to ask Mr. Downs to take one and please pass it down. you are receiving an official invitation to the city's holiday party. We hope that you will all consider coming, and we have food that's going to be fantastic. We have a band that's going to be great, and we would love to see council members join city employees to say thank you for all the year's work, and we would like to thank council for all of your work as well. That's what I have. Any questions for me?
I don't believe so. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Les. All right, that concludes item 10. That leaves us with item 11, adjournment. Is there a motion? So moved. And a second? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Adjourned.